Iran's side, not on Israel or the United States.
I want to play this short clip, and I want your take on this as soon as this plays.
We spoke with the research director at the Valdai Discussion Club's Foundation for Development and Support. He believes that the U.S. was kept in the loop regarding Israel's latest plans to attack Iran.
In this particular case, I guess that to launch a major war with absolutely unprecedented consequences, that would not be happening without the notice to the United States. Another thing is that Trump could not give a clear indication that he agreed. He might demonstrate that basically he understands the logic. And Israel did interpret this as a sign, go ahead. Anyway, at this point, whether Americans knew or not, we see that Trump actually, he's still talking about negotiations, but it's not about negotiations anymore. He now says that Iran has to accept everything Americans are proposing, or face fatal and terminal consequences. So it's not about negotiations from my point of view. Maybe it is a Trumpian style because he sometimes believes that the tougher demands, the easier to get to conclusion, something which normally worked in his real estate business, but international relations is something else.
So, in words, he was saying that this could not have happened without the U.S. approval. And why is it that the West continues to report that Trump is willing to negotiate and wants negotiation when he was the one who tore up the JCPOA, and he was the one who kept flip-flopping? One week he said this is what they wanted. The next week he said another thing is what they wanted. Is this all a ploy to try to trap Iran and make it capitulate?
I think it is a ploy. I think the negotiations are not in good faith. I think they're a strategy. They're part of the toolbox of war, just as the IAEA itself was weaponized against Iran. So certainly, I don't expect much to come out of this. But for now, we have a little pause on the killing, which is, a small respite. Sometimes you have to take, what is, sometimes you need that respite. Certainly, as the speaker pointed out, it's not a real negotiation. It's essentially they're demanding surrender. On their term, their idea of negotiation is that you accept everything that we ask for, which is a non-starter. But going back to the larger picture, was the U.S. involved in it? Of course, we know the U.S. was intricately involved in this. This is like multiple administrations had been planning this out. It goes back to the 90s or even before that. But certainly the U.S., had prepared this thoroughly, and they were using Israel as their attack dog. When they say, the attack dog behaved by itself. Well, that's because you took it off the leash, and you were in the meantime feeding it steroids, right? So it's all, the policy paper, the leave it to Bibi, has been thoroughly, analyzed. Essentially, this is a U.S. plan. It's a U.S. plan to use Israel as a proxy to further its imperial goals in West Asia. And when the U.S. pretends that, it was reluctantly pulled in, this is propaganda. It's a fig leaf. It's anytime the U.S. uses the words enmeshment or pulled in regarding its vassals, you're being lied to. It's like this, it's that the ventriloquist will sometimes pretend that the puppet is telling them what to do. But you have to understand, underneath the puppet is the ventriloquist hand. That's what's going on.